Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel is saved, and it's all thanks to Dracotail. Hello guys, and we'll go back to another cold episode. On today's episode, we are taking a look at Dracotail, the newest top-tier strategy within Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel, and dear Lanta, this deck is super duper fun to play, and super duper fun to play against. Why so? Well, it's simply a fusion deck, but unlike other such fusion decks like Branded or what have you, this deck actually has the ability to play a low-to-the-ground interesting game, and it's not centered around floodgating you or anything else of that nature. For the most part, it is a very unique's not the right term. It's a very streamlined deck. Every single one of the fusion materials have the ability to get you additional cards when used as fusion material. On top of that, because of the fact that these cards specifically require a monster in hand, it means that you do have to actually have the material in your hand. You still have to use your fusion material from hand. But in addition to all of this, the deck plays at a very high skill ceiling, meaning the more you play the deck, the better you are going to get at it, and the more rewarding it's going to be. And there's just a million different options at any given time to go through. So there's a ton of different things that you have to do. I would say I'm not even close to fully understanding how to play this deck, but I do thoroughly enjoy it, and it is a very fun deck to play, at the very least. So, let's quickly go through the card by card and the explanation. First and foremost, we're playing a lot of monsters due to the fact that these just require monsters in hand, so we're playing a bunch of hand trap monsters. All of our hand traps are monsters for that purpose. That being said, we're also playing a bunch of powerful spells. Notably, we're including the branded spells in here because they trigger some of our effects, because all of these just have to be used as fusion material. Doesn't matter what you're fusing with, just as long as they're used as fusion material, they trigger. Meaning branded fusion can also trigger some of our other guys, like the, well, most notably like green here. That being said, let's talk about the Dracotails. Malulu fusion summons at quick effect speed, and also has the ability, when used as material, to not only set a spell trap, but also negate the effects of a face-up monster. Pretty solid. We're playing 3 of this. We're also playing 3 Lucius, just searches a monster. We are playing 3 Phimena, which can discard itself in order to fusion summon using monsters in hand or field. Pretty solid. This is also at quick effect speed, meaning even during your turn, you can use this to potentially dodge something like an Imperm or a Veiler or something of that nature. Pretty solid. We are also playing one piece of Urgula and Pan, which both have additional pieces of interaction when they are used as fusion material. Pan destroys a monster, and Urgula destroys a spell trap. However, in the grave, they also have additional effects, Urgula adding back a spellcaster, and Pan allowing you to reborn a non-fusion when a fusion is destroyed. Cool. Now, the spells are where this deck really takes a turn. Ketu is pretty simple. It's just Rhoda. You just search a card, or more specifically, a monster, right? However, if your opponent also controls a monster, you then also get to fusion summon, meaning you can search and then fusion summon a monster. Pretty solid. However, only if your opponent also controls a monster. So there you go. Then we have Rahu, which is basically just branded fusion, except for the fact that because the Dracotail monsters require a card in hand, you don't actually get to always send the material to the graveyard. You do have to have that material still in your hand. From the deck to the graveyard. You still have to have at least one material in your hand to utilize it. But it's still very solid, nonetheless. And then we have the trap cards here, which Horn, Flame, and Sting are all okay, but they also all draw you a card, giving you the ability to potentially draw into something like Phimena, or if you already have Phimena, to draw into a material needed, draw into potential hand traps, etc. Very useful effects. That being said, they're all pretty okay. They're not like exceptional cards, but they are removal or disruption in some capacity. Horn bounces an attack position monster, Flame negates a face-up spell, and Sting banishes a monster and or spell trap from your opponent's grave. All of which are fairly solid effects. They're not insane, but again, fairly solid, and given the additional draw, it's pretty nice. That being said, for the extra deck, it's pretty simple as well. We're playing 1 Gulamel, which is just a solid Dracotail monster to go into. Most of the time, you're going to want to go into Arthurian, or Arthalion. We'll get into that in a second. But when a Dracotail effect is activated, you can also target a card on the field with the Gulamel and destroy it. So you chain to your own effect, pop a card. Pretty solid. However, both Gulamel and Arthalion have a second effect where if 2 or more monsters are sent to the graveyard at the same time, they reborn themselves. Meaning, Link summons, Synchro summons, Fusion summons, destruction effects. If your own guys are sent to the graveyard while these are in the grave, bada bing, bada boom, you get a special summon them. It's pretty solid. Then we have Arthalion. We're playing 3 of this card because on Fusion Summon, it targets monsters on the field and or graves up to the number of monsters used as material from the hand to bounce them back to the hand. You're guaranteed at least 1 bounce, but you could potentially have more. But on top of that, when you summon it, you get to grab back one of your own cards, potentially a hand trap or something like 5 mana. Very useful. On top of that, it has the other effect as well. So we're playing 3 of that. The rest of these cards are pretty simple. They are either things that we can go into off of something like 5 mana, like the Mysterion or the Secretarion, or they are branded cards like Titaniclad to out Liger Dancer, Mirror Jade, and the like. We also are playing a few Synchro or Link monsters. Spirit is in here so that we can link off in order to go into Seals more effectively. Then we are also, of course, playing Seal. We're also playing Verte and SP Little Knight. Now that's it for the deck. Let's hop into the replays and show you how this deck performs. Alrighty, so here we are going first. Let's see what we can accomplish here. So we did draw the Branded Fusion, so we're going to start off with that. We don't really have anything else that we can do because we do need at least a Dracotail monster. But Branded Fusion resolves. We're going to go for the Albion. We're going to put it into the extra monster zone here since we're locked into fusions. But we do get the green to grab Ketu. Ketu effect is going to activate. And we are going to add it to our hand. Lucius. We're going to then normal summon it and activate its effect, which my opponent will respond with Gamma. And I'm like, okay, sure, makes sense. Luckily, we do have the 5 mana, but we do actually need to chain it here, even though our Lucius will be negated nonetheless. We do need at least a Dracotail monster. So we're going to link off here in order to go into our Arthalion. Gamma will resolve, and we won't get the search off of Luke. But that's okay, because we are still going to be able to trigger it in order to set a card. We're also going to attempt to bounce back our 5 mana back to our hand, so that we can use it potentially later, or we could also use it during the opponent's turn to Fusion Summon. However, we do set the Rahu, and we're going to activate that in order to send Urgula from the deck, as well as the 5 mana from the hand. So Urgula is going to trigger, and 5 mana is going to trigger, and we just make the Gulamel. I'm not going to actually activate the Gulamel. These will just banish themselves. It's fine. We're going to set 2 of our traps here, and then we are going to use the Urgula effect in the grave in order to add back that 5 mana. So now we have the 5 mana as follow-up, and we can use it with the effect veiler in our grip in order to Fusion Summon. So there's that. My opponent's going to go for the Wedgoo Temple here, and I'm like, okay, I don't want this, so I'm going to go for the 5 mana to pop it so that they do not actually get the trigger of the field spell. So I'm like, okay, we're just going to get rid of that. It's not great, but it's not terrible. We do have to Fusion Summon here, but we're going to just Fusion Summon into another Arthalion, and then we can actually use it to add back that Veiler. So, not bad. Anyway, let's see what else my opponent has. Oh, that's right. Of course, they have the Sengajin. Anyway, they're going to activate the Sengajin to grab Shield, and then they're going to normal summon the Xiamen, and this is one of the weaknesses of this deck, or more specifically the trap cards, is that all of them can be ashed. So because I would draw at the end of the effect, they can Ash Blossom it. So kind of sucks, but I really don't want the Xiamen, and so what we're going to do is I'm going to reborn my own Fallen Valbaz and Arthalion, which was just sent to the graveyard, but we are going to use the Albaz here in order to fuse off their, fuse off the Arthalion that I gave them in order to banish their monster. Tragically, they have Foxy Toon. So, yeah, out comes the Xiamen, and they're going to basically be able to go into this guy, which is kind of an issue. But alas, we do get to reborn the Arthalion here, which is because they Synchro Summoned, so that's kind of funny. Anyway, realistically, I could be in danger here due to the Mirror Jade in attack position and this guy being big. So, SpaghettiOs. They're going to go through the whole punk line here. They're going to grab the Wagon. Wagon effect is going to grab up the Field Spell. I'm just going to promptly negate the Field Spell here with the Flame so that I do not have to deal with them potentially drawing additional guys. What I should have done, though, is, that I didn't for some reason, is I should have also activated Sting to banish the target. I don't know why I didn't do that. That almost costed me. So, whoops. And then, of course, they hit their third engine, which is Diabell Star. I don't know why the Yasmina or the Diabell cards are in here, but SpaghettiOs. Also, I do have to actually draw a card here. So I'm going to banish 2 of their things. I banished the glow-up bulb that they milled, and I draw into Ash. Oh, baby. I really needed to draw into something there. And, yeah. Ash Blossom works. So there you go. We're just going to negate there. If they had the ability to continue there, it could have been very dangerous for us. But alas, my opponent's going to walk through the field here. And then they're going to go for SP. This is a terrible play. They realistically shouldn't have gone for SP here. I understand why they do it. It's a terrible play. They're going to banish my Mirror Jade, but that's fine because Gulamel gets to come back because they link summoned. And then I'm going to activate the effect of the Mirror Jade here, and they're going to trigger the SP Little Knight. Awesome. Well, guess what? It doesn't matter. Mirror Jade is going to actually destroy all of their monsters because turn player priority, they have to resolve first, then I resolve, and so they still get nuked. At this point, the game is over, but it was looking scary there for a second because Punk can just randomly kill you thanks to Pep. So there you go. Good game. Alrighty, so here we are going second, and this kind of shows you the power of 5 mana specifically. So this is a fairly good game. First of all, my opponent is playing Hero, and they drew the 2 material. It's just in hand. Alright, sure. Out comes the DPE. DPE is a little annoying, just due to the fact that they can, like, ignore some of the disruption. But, I mean, it's not that big of a deal. My opponent's going to go for the Cross Crusader here. They're going to activate the effect in order to reborn the Destiny Hero, and then tribute it, and then special summon, or sorry, add the Stratos, normal summon the Stratos. I'm just allowing all of this to happen because I'm not really too concerned about anything here, and Urgula pops a spell trap, so yeah, we'll see what they can accomplish here. Out comes the Ferris. Ferris is going to special summon itself. They're going to go for the Vision. Vision effect is going to activate. They're going to summon out the Vion. Vion is going to send a card to the graveyard to grab the Plasma, and I go, oh! Okay, that's kind of an issue. So I'm actually going to go for the 5 mana here. If Plasma hits the field here, it means Arthalion doesn't get its bounce, which is kind of an issue. So we're going to go for the Arthalion just so that we can contest here. But I do actually have to use the 2 guys in hand, so it's actually going to get 2 bounces here. So I'm going to attempt to bounce these 2, and then I'm also going to activate the effect of my Urgula as well as my Mululu. So anyway, my opponent is then going to chain it the DPE so that instead of getting bounced, is going to be destroyed. But we are going to set here, and then I'm also going to, because of the Malulu, I'm also going to be able to negate the Vion. So Vion effect is going to be negated, which means that they can't, like, banish to search out the polymerization, which is fantastic. I'm going to set 2 cards here, the Sting as well as the Rahu, which means that we have the ability to potentially negate the, or not negate, but banish the DPE, which is pretty solid here. Out comes Plasma. They're going to yoink, but that's not that big of a deal. We do also have Ketu and Rahu, so I'm feeling pretty good as well. Anyway, the end phase happens, and they do have the Malicious, but of course I do get to go Sting here, so I'm going to banish 2. Just kidding, Ash Blossom. It's fine, because I drew the one I've called by. So, anyway. I hate that Ash Blossom has the ability to interact with this. It's very frustrating. But alas, we're going to shuffle back a card, and I do draw Lucius, which is kind of cool. They're going to put back the DPE, and then out comes our Pan, and I'm actually just going to fusion summon here, and out comes Gulamel. We're going to put it in attack position, and Pan, notably, gets to pop the Plasma. They do also droll us. Not that big of a deal. We're going to set Horn, Flame and Ketu, and then I'm going to pop and just go to combat, walk up the field. I don't have the ability to go for the Rahu effect here because I've already fusion summoned. Realistically, I probably should have used the Rahu as opposed to the Ketu in order to fusion summon. So I should have, like, normal Lucius to search out a card and then have, like, 5 mana or something like that. A little bit of a goof on my part. I was still new when I played this, but overall it does show you the power of 5 mana, just being able to interact entirely with the opponent. They basically had their entire end board, destroyed, removed, disrupted, just entirely changed due to the fact that 5 mana actually did resolve. And yeah, so there you go. Alrighty, here we are once again going first, and our hand isn't exactly exceptional, but hey, if this Ketu resolves, it should be pretty good, and it does. Wow, fantastic. I'm gonna grab 5 mana here and just activate it in order to fusion summon. My opponent's going to go for the Fua. I'm going to go for the Ash Blossom. I don't want to try and deal with that. We're going to fusion summon here. Out comes the Arthalion. We're going to activate its effect as well as the, we're going to add back 2. Just kidding. Imperm. That's fine. Pan at least gets us to Rahu. So we're going to activate the effect of the Rahu, and we're going to send it the Urgula and the Valor in hand to grab up the Gulamel. Urgula is going to set the Flame and then add back the 5 mana. It's not exceptional, but it's okay. I also see that they're on, like, 60-ish cards. So I'm like, okay, I have the Spell Negate. This should be at least something. They're actually on Runic. Whoa, crazy. Out comes Hugin. They pitch Rainbow Bridge. I'm like, oh, no. Okay. Out comes Rainbow Bridge effect. I'm like, that's fine. They're going to go Cobalt Eagle into the walls. I'm like, oh, that's an issue. Anyway, Sylvie comes out as well, and I go, okay, I can activate the 5 mana here in order to pop a card. This does force the Hugin, and I was like, right. It's fine. We're going to make Secretarion here. Now, Secretarion, if you don't know, is basically a floodgate, but only a floodgate for special summoned dragon and spellcaster monsters the opponent controls. Kind of weird, but okay. It happens to have application specifically against this deck, as well as it does have very good application against Dracotail. So there's that. I am going to elect to negate the Imperial Tomb. I don't really care too much about the runic field spell as much as I care about the Horus cards not hitting the field. So there you go. My opponent's going to grab their LZ here, activate the effect of the LZ to grab up this guy, and then Synchro Summon into Ursilia, which can't activate, but that's fine because, hey, I get my guys back. They Synchro Summon. I get my guys back. My guys are back on the field. Hip hip hooray. Also, that draw, by the way, Albaz, pretty terrible. Anyway, Diabel does hit the field, which is an illusion, so they can't activate it. And they grab back Runic Fountain, or Runic Tip, and then activate the Fountain, set one, and pass the turn. And I go, oh, that's it? They're going to go for the tip here in order to grab Freezing Curses. And I'm like, sure, that's fine. I draw Branded Fusion, which is very chistoso. But that's fine. We're going to go for a Secretarion here to see if that forces some sort of interaction. They actually do activate the effect of the Diabel in order to pitch the Synchro Rumble that they're also playing for some reason. And then they're also going to go for the Freezing Curses to negate. That's fine. They go for a Zapper Shrimp here, which is not great, because they're also going to draw 3 here. So, looking kind of dire for me, but it's fine. They're going to go for the Chaos Angel to banish Arthalion for some reason as opposed to Secretarion. I don't know. I guess it's because it's negated here, but anyway, it's fine. We have the Branded Fusion. I'm going to go for the Albion here, and I'm going to trigger one of our monsters, the green, which also allows us to go for the Gulamel. So I'm going to go Gulamel and pop the Fountain. I'm like, no. They've already used Freezing Curses, so they can't negate this. They could have, like, destroyed something there, but anyway, it's fine. This allows us to go for the Ketu, which grabs up the Lucius, and then also triggers the Arthalion to add back the Lucius, and then we're also going to set the Rahu. From here, I'm going to go for the Lucius in order to grab Urgula, and then activate the Rahu here, and I make a mistake. I don't put this monster into the extra monster zone, because I'm dumb. Oops. That's fine. We get to then trigger both of these effects. We're going to go and set Horn and set Sting. We're going to pop the set card, and then Urgula is going to add back the 5 mana. And at this point, the game is pretty much over. My opponent does disconnect, if I'm not mistaken, but alas, the game is pretty much over from that position. I have way more advantage just overall, and I do actually have the out to the Chaos Angel. I just bounce it. It's in attack position. I just bounce it. And it's gone. Right? So there's that. Also, the field spells are engraved. They can't attack me. It's looking pretty good for me. So, good game. All right, we're back with the deck, and honestly, this deck is very fun to play. It has so many different things that it gets to do, and a lot of the interactions are not stopping the opponent from playing the game as much as it is just interacting with them, right? Slowing them down, you know, cutting off key pieces of material that they may need, or what have you, right? The only real stop that they have, you know, the only negate is Dracotail, or Dracotail Flame, sorry, is Flame, which is a fairly strong card. That being said, obviously you have things like Ash Blossom and Valor and what have you, right? So those cards still exist, but at least the Dracotail cards are fairly fun to play against and provide a lot of back and forth, both from you and your opponent. There's a lot of material that you are able to go through due to the power of the spells, as well as the consistency of each material being able to, you know, set those additional cards. It's pretty solid. It's a very fun deck, and it has a lot going for it. Obviously, I believe that it is currently the best deck in the game. Its ability to not only be able to play going first, but also have a strong playstyle going second makes it very good for best of 1. On top of that, it doesn't really lose to anything in particular. Even if you get max seed, it's not that big of a deal, because guess what? At most, they're going to get like 2 draws, right? You can very easily slim down the amount of monsters you summon. And actually, for the most part, I only ever ended up summoning 2 monsters anyway. That's not true. But like, for the most part, if I got max seed, I would only summon like 1 guy. And then it's like, cool, yeah, great. Maxi, 1 guy, sure. So there's a lot of, like, power behind how easy it is to put guys onto the field without committing to making a large amount of summons, or having a large amount of summons. So overall, very solid deck, very fun deck. Thoroughly enjoy it. It really has been a fun time playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel, even with the Roach, even with Fool Loss and all of that other stuff. It's just been fun. I really have enjoyed it. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope that you guys did indeed enjoy it. If you did, a like is very much so appreciated. And remember to always stay frosty. Bye-bye.